Enough to cause some slick spots, so be careful this morning. Here's the temperatures that are out the door. Most locations 0 or colder. Again, the cold spot in west central Iowa, 4 to 6 below this morning for most locations there. There's your wind out of the north, 10 to 20 miles per hour. And that's the key, folks. That's what stings this morning. Yeah, the air temperatures are better, but look at the wind chills, 15 to 25 below still this morning. And these are only going to get worse tomorrow morning. We are in the middle of this cold snap, and it is rough. You can see where wind chills will be below 20 below this morning. At best, I think 10 to 15 below later on this afternoon. Probably be the best we can do. There's the look at the radar. You got these little light bands of snow going from north to south through the area. They're trying to, again, put a thin little coating. It's a very fine powder. Just looks like a dust, but it's just enough, I think, that it may be causing some issues. And you can see on the latest look here, a little band holding strong over Sarpy County as it drops through a little bit more to the north. There's not going to be a ton out of this. Again, maybe a tenth or two from here on out. It'd be just a morning thing, and you can see here as we march on through 6, 7, 8 o'clock, by 9, there's not a ton left. It continues to move on through clouds, try to break apart this afternoon, but then more will fill in as we try to warm up. Around 3 for the high, 3 to 4 degrees is probably the best we can do today. And then those clouds give way tonight, and that's where the problem lies, because clear skies, light winds, and this fresh snow, that's how the temperatures are going to drop off. We haven't had a night with completely clear skies yet, and that is what we're going to have, it looks like, tonight heading into tomorrow morning, and that's why it's going to be the coldest morning. Easily, I think, down in the mid-teens below 0, and some spots could flirt with 20 below to start off tomorrow morning. Yes, that is the air temperature. That's what will be on the thermometers. We'll go 16 below for the low. We get the first alert days rolling. 35 below, I think, is what some of the coldest wind chills could be tomorrow morning. 9 below is what we'll be at on Friday morning. Likely to just obliterate the record Thursday morning. Friday morning gets close, so that's why we made it a first alert weather day. One thing about Friday, it could have a low that maybe is a little earlier than usual, and hopefully the temperatures are maybe starting to climb as we get close to the start of school.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And maybe we can get a day of school this week.
A regular day, right?
The kids are like, no, I want to stay home. All right, some better news as far as the temperatures go.
Yeah.
A really nice outlook for next week.
I tell you what, it keeps holding on, and it still looks good. We'll see at the rate which we can melt some of this snow here in the next, well, not the next few days, but by the weekend. 32 Saturday, 40 on Sunday, and that will determine just how warm we can go with some of these numbers. There's still a rain chance Wednesday that may get in the way of the warming a little bit. You got to watch out for fog potential as well. But look at these overnight lows. They may be warm enough to keep melting going slowly overnight too, with 55 degrees in play on Tuesday. And I think you look at a little longer range and you can get warmer than average weather, at least into the start of March anyway. And that first few days of March still looking pretty good as well if you look a little longer range.
That's my very favorite map that you have.
Good.
Yeah, warmer than average.
This half.
Get that blue and purple junk out of here.
Yeah, for sure. All right, back to reality. We got to talk about that commute. How is? I know you were concerned about that little light dusting.
Come on in.
Hello. Yeah.
Yeah, how's that affecting traffic so far?
It's something we got to watch for, just because I think it's just going to be enough to get in the way of how things are going on the roads this morning. And you can see we just actually had our first spin out about a half hour ago. This is the flashing lights right here. This was eastbound I-80 to southbound JFK. Traffic's getting by. It's in the right median, or the right shoulder, so no problems getting through there. You can see have the crash on the map, but green flow. You got that loop around that's obviously slow from northbound JFK to westbound 80. That tends to be that way each and every morning. Water main break westbound Pacific at 96th. Watch for this. It's in the westbound lanes, but maybe the water's trickling across the road and freezing up. Again, any water that's out there is going to freeze just like that. So watch for water main breaks. There was another one in a residential area, likely not causing huge traffic issues. And then right as we were getting ready to start our stream here, 192nd in Q, a fresh crash, and you could see the north and southbound lanes pretty greatly impacted through there. So watch out for 192nd and Q if you're just getting up this morning. Otherwise, we're seeing the other usual suspects. Eastbound Maple, a little bit on Center, but again, most school districts are either out or delayed, so you're not going to have quite the number of vehicles on the road. The biggest thing is probably going to be just that thin little fresh coating. It was in part of my drive this morning, neighborhoods, but then you got to Dodge and it looked okay. I think you're going to encounter that on the way in.
Okay. All right, Rusty, thanks.
You bet.
Several metro school districts, in the meantime, adjusting their schedules to the extreme temperatures. Omaha Public Schools will have remote learning days today and tomorrow. Papillion, La Vista, and Gretna schools are closed today. Bellevue Public Schools is closed for the next two days. Millard, Bennington, and Elkhorn schools all have a 2-hour late start today. With the temperatures as low as they are, it's important to stay cautious. The National Weather Service says it's best to travel as little as possible. If you do have to, though, double check your tire pressure and your anti-freeze levels. Make sure to keep that winter survival kit in your car if you get stuck. You'll also want to check in on your elderly loved ones and limit the amount of time your pets are outdoors. Well, amid this Arctic blast, there is a serious need for help at local shelters.
The Open Door mission in Council Bluffs is limited to just 1 day a week right now. They say they don't have enough volunteers. The organization says more helping hands would be a huge boost in their outreach efforts.
Without the donations, we're not able to help the most vulnerable people in our community. We have more of the community coming in for blankets, a lot of homeless people looking for things to make it through the night.
Now, the mission has donation centers in Omaha, Elkhorn, and Council Bluffs if you'd like to drop off items that could help those who need it to stay warm.
Well, for the latest updates on this brutal cold stretch, you can check out our website, firstalert6.com, or you can download the First Alert 6 app. There you can find that full list of closings and cancellations. You can also submit your weather videos or photos and find our First Alert 6 forecast there, too.
Law enforcement agencies across the state are mourning the death of State Trooper Kyle McCasey. His cruiser is now parked outside of Troop A headquarters at 108th and I. Authorities say a snowplow hit and killed McCasey as he was responding to a crash on I-80 earlier this week. Officers who knew Trooper McCasey spoke with First Alert 6 about the tragedy.
He's one of these guys that was a pleasure to talk to, had a smile on his face. Just a credit to know somebody of his caliber of a person that takes things in stride and does the job to the best of his ability.
McCasey was 31 years old. It is too early in the investigation to determine if anyone will face any charges.
Happening today, opening statements are set to start in the trial over a deadly metro crash. Investigators allege that Dr. Mark Carlson was racing somebody in his Mercedes when he lost control and then smashed into oncoming traffic. 22-year-old Anna Bosma of South Dakota was killed. Carlson is now facing manslaughter charges. All right, now to the First Alert Safety Desk. I'm joined once again by Marie Cade as those frigid temperatures continue. Oh, just Marie Cade, I guess, on the screen today. We're always looking for some fun ways to stay warm, Maria.
Yeah, there are some tips from experts that you definitely want to know. They say that you should be extra careful, especially if you use a space heater. And you're also going to want to make sure that all of your carbon monoxide alarms are working to their fullest extent. So to lower the chance of being exposed to any high levels of carbon monoxide, you want to make sure your car is not in a small space when you do decide to warm it up. So in your car, you also want to make sure you have a first aid kit, blankets, any jumper cables, bottles of water, and snacks too, just in case you get stuck somewhere in this cold.
Sometimes when it's this cold, it's not necessarily the most comfortable as you want it to be in your house. A lot of heat pumps and different things like that maybe can't keep it at that 71, 72 degrees. So it's definitely going to be a little bit cooler. Try to keep it at least 55 degrees if you can.
Well, Hastings Fire and Rescue officials say that they've dealt with quite a few fires recently that actually started from those space heaters, so you do want to be as careful as you can. Finally, just to avoid any pipes freezing, we don't want that. Let your faucet drip and then open up your cabinet doors to let heat flow through that entire area.
Okay, good to know. All right, switching gears now. This is really concerning. Lots of cases of the measles are popping up, especially in places like North Texas, too.
Yes.
So what should people know about this?
Well, the CDC is saying that most of these cases that are popping up, unfortunately, are in young kids. So many populations that are not getting the vaccines. In several cases of measles, if they are severe, they can cause blindness, pneumonia, or swelling in the brain. In some cases, they can even cause death. So last year, there were 285 cases that were reported to the CDC, and that is the most since 2019. And like we said, many of the people who are getting this have not been vaccinated.
People should just make sure that they are up to date with their measles vaccination and that their children are up to date.
CDC says older kids and adults can also get vaccinated if you didn't get the vaccine as a baby when it's typically administered. The first version of the measles vaccine, it was used between 1963 and 1968. So the agency says that if you were vaccinated during that time, or you don't know if you got that specific one or the new version, you should get at least one dose of that current vaccine.
And part of why this is so concerning is that for kids who are not yet eligible to get the vaccine and cannot yet get it, they're exposed because if they're not yet vaccinated and can't get it yet but are planning to, they're the ones at risk.
Yep.
Okay, Maria, thank you. We're back after this.
All right, welcome back, everybody. As if the extreme cold wasn't enough, now we're dealing with just a little bit of snow, but we know that's all you need to cause some problems for drivers.
Any roads that haven't been treated, I tell you what, everything's just so darn cold. The snow's going to stick wherever it's falling.
Yeah.
It's no more than 1/4 of an inch, it looks like, in most spots. And it doesn't even look like much on radar, but the big system's traveling off towards the southeast, got a thin little coating here that's trying to fall in our area. You got to change modes of the radar here to see it, and just a couple little lines of some light snow. There's one there. It's right through southern Sarpy County, heading through Plattsmouth, another couple up here near Blair and Missouri Valley. So you tack on maybe another 1/10 of an inch to what you see on the map, and that's about it. It's not going to be much, but I think it's enough to make it slick in spots. And there's a little more wind out there too. Flag is really whipping around. Again, when temperatures are 3 below, you don't want any wind. It drops the wind chill to 25 below this morning. Current temperatures anywhere from about 1 below to 4 below on the map. So the good news about the clouds that have the snow in them, it's holding our temperatures pretty steady. They're not allowed to plummet. Clear skies on a night with snow on the ground, that's the perfect recipe to watch the temperatures fall off. And they haven't been able to do that because of the clouds. So that's some good news. But you got a north wind, 10 to 20 miles per hour, and there's your feels like temperatures, anywhere from 15 to 25 below to start off the day. It is cold all over the map here, no matter where you're at. So a little bit better than yesterday, but not by much. At best, we can get 10 to 15 below to start off the day tomorrow. or I should say to top out the day today. 10 to 15 below later on this afternoon for our peak wind chills. Air temperatures below zero most of the morning. We get up to 3 by 3 o'clock, 3 to 4 o'clock. And then once the clouds clear out, look at that. There's just no telling just how far the bottom's going to go. There could be some 20 below zero readings in some spots tomorrow morning. I think on average around the metro, we're looking at about 15 to 16 below to start off the day. Yes, air temperature, not wind chill. We'll climb to 6 for the afternoon high, but a first alert 6 weather day because of this Arctic blast. That the coldest of it is likely to be tomorrow morning, the way things are playing out, because wind chills could get as cold as 35 below. All it'll take is maybe a 5-mile-per-hour wind to drive that wind chill down, and that's what we're watching for Friday. Well, or Thursday, I should say. Friday morning has 9 below in the forecast. Now, one thing about low temperatures, they usually happen around sunrise. This could be a little earlier, maybe closer to 11, 12, 1 o'clock, and then we start to climb towards morning. So that could make Friday morning a little bit better as far as getting kids off to school and things rolling on Friday. So likely to break a record Friday or Thursday, very close to a record on Friday. Here's this cold air mass that's in place, and it's going to slide east. Now notice how it's kind of been dislodged. There's nothing really up here. It slides east. Watch the cold air build again this weekend as we get warmer, and most of next week should be warm. Pay attention to this right up here, because the cold air is not done yet. It's hanging out up there, and it'll be interesting to see if it stays up there long term. 16 Friday, 32 Saturday, 40 on Sunday. So it's getting a lot better by the weekend. We'll get some melting rolling and then turn to mud a little bit in spots.
You know, we can deal with some mud.
As
long as we get closer to 50 next week.
There you go. You got it. 50 to 55 on several days next week. And we'll see how the warming goes. I would not be surprised if one of these days tries to trend close to 60. It would be wild, but I think it's possible. You got some rain potential on Wednesday. I showed you this map earlier. I think we could sneak into the early part of March and still keep some of the warmth around. But that cold I mentioned up there in Canada, watch that. I don't think it's done yet.
Okay.
It's something that may try to sneak down here maybe that first week of March. We'll
But at least we'll get a break from the cold, right? A nice break.
Big ups and downs, but the ups look really good.
All right. Sounds good. Rusty, thank you.
You bet.
All right, not just school and homes being affected by the bitter cold we're experiencing right now, local businesses are being greatly impacted as well. And while some may be reporting less foot traffic, the cold weather doesn't bother Nikki Roberts at all. Nikki owns Creative Edge Salon, and she says the cold temps are actually helping boost business.
Actually, it benefits us because school teachers, when they are normally working, they're off. And so they want to take advantage of being able to get their hair done, or school kids if they're out.
As for Dusted Charm, a women's boutique in Council Bluffs, the slowdown has created time for workers to take care of other work in the shop.
An update to a story now we've been following. We now know the name of the woman killed in a crash in West Omaha. She's been identified as 60-year-old Louise Field of Fremont. It happened on West Dodge Road near Skyline Drive. OPD tells us the driver of a Chevy pickup lost control, went off the road and hit a guardrail. Police say Field was a passenger inside that car. She died at the scene. The driver and a 10-year-old boy were taken to the hospital. Well, so for several days, residents at a Council Bluffs apartment complex haven't been able to use their stove or the oven because of a gas leak.
That's right. And many of the residents we spoke with say they have no choice but to get creative just to have a hot meal. Some say they've had to go to nearby pantries just to microwave food.
It's an inconvenience, really, in the long run.
Well, the housing agency tells us they do expect repair work to take about another week. They hope to get it done sooner. We are told residents will get an update today.
All right, traffic like it's hot.
Oh, okay. A look at the top beaches to visit in the world when First Alert 6 streaming returns.
the cold weather may have you dreaming of a beach trip.
For sure. If you aren't sure where to go, though, TripAdvisor recently released its annual list of world's best beaches. So #1 on the list is the Greek island of Crete, followed by Phuket in Thailand.
Okay.
Aruba rounded out the
I'm
top
writing these
3.
down. Hold on.
Write it down. Yes.
Aruba's nice.
If an international ticket is out of your reach, no worries. Siesta Key in Florida came in 4th place. It was the only U.S. beach to crack the top 10, by the way.
I'm not
Doesn't that look
surprised.
good?
People always talk about Florida Beach. You would know.
Oh, yeah. Florida sounds good in right now, period.
We went to South Carolina several years ago.
Myrtle Beach, where'd you go?
We were in Charleston. Sullivan Island Beach is kind of cool too.
Okay.
I had a good time there, but I get, beggars can't be choosers. It's 3 below outside.
Yeah.
Any beach right now would be great.
Well, at least we've got visuals in our mind, right? We like it. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. We have to get ready for our update in today's show. You can watch it here or on the air.
All right. Have a good start to your Wednesday.
Live from WOWT, this is our First Alert 6 weather day.
Good Wednesday morning, everybody. It is 7:26. I'm Cerise Cole.
And I'm Erin Harley on this 3rd day of a stretch of First Alert weather days. We'll get a check in on this bitter cold with Rusty.
Yeah, temperatures down in the single digits below 0. A little bit better than yesterday. We did bottom out at 11 below yesterday. So I guess by comparison, it does look better on the map. 1 to about 5 below out there to start off the day today. Wind chills, though, are nearly just as bad because the wind is a little stronger. You got 20 to 25 below pretty easily when you feel that wind, and there's been a little bit of light snow. You can see a dusting on some of the roads to start off the day. We're going to climb to about 3 for the afternoon high. I'm hoping some of this afternoon sunshine that breaks through can at least make it look a little better out there. It's not going to feel all that great. There is a little bit of light snow and a couple of bands moving through. I think it's going to be just enough to put a dusting on some roads, so watch for slick spots this morning where you have a little bit of that trying to coat the roads. 16 below, though, tomorrow morning. First Alert weather days Thursday and Friday. The coldest of the year yet to come Thursday morning. Let's get a check of traffic real quick. Happy to say some of the issues have resolved this morning, but watch here. We're at 84th and Highway 370. We had some light snow falling here in the last hour. Traffic moving along okay right there. I'm worried about that causing some slick spots. The lone crash right now, 192nd and Q. On the map there, you can see north and southbound lanes impacted by that one. Otherwise, the normal slowdowns on 204th. We don't have a lot of school traffic out there this morning, and that's helping things out a little bit. Just be mindful of that fresh, little thin layer of snow. Aaron?
Omaha Public Schools will have remote learning days today and tomorrow. Bellevue Public Schools are going to be closed for the next 2 days. Millard, Bennington, and Elkhorn have a 2-hour late start today.
All right, it is 7:28. We're back with another update for you in about 25 minutes. See you then.